Good morning. How can we be more thankful? I think a lot of us struggle with that. I'll talk about that in just a second. The meal was being prepared. My wife is an excellent cook. We had a fantastic spread coming to the table very soon, and we were all going to enjoy it. The turkey was in the oven, and it was Thanksgiving. And boy, were we excited. The family was all going to be there, and everything was going to be delicious, just like it always is. Until it wasn't. My wife was looking at the turkey, and I don't know if we accidentally poked a hole in the bottom of the pan or what exactly happened, but grease began to drip out of the bottom of the pan, unbeknownst to us for just a few seconds there, and then suddenly we certainly knew what was up. The house filled with white smoke. It was hard to breathe. The smoke alarms were going crazy. And my wife took the small kids and ran out the door with them and got in the truck and pulled away from the house, while my other daughter and myself, who's a little bit older, tried to figure out a way to stop the problem. She was looking for some baking soda. Well, we shut the oven and it began to correct itself, but the house was filled with smoke. We didn't throw baking soda on anything, but on Thanksgiving Day, in my front yard, a ladder truck showed up. A man in an ambulance stopped and leaped out of the back of the ambulance with a tiny little fire extinguisher, which was pretty comical to look at. All these people showed up in gear to go in and wade into a home and rescue those or put fires out, because she had called the fire department. Well, they saved our house because it never was on fire, but the problem was is she was really concerned, and so were we. It's like, oh, if this gets out of hand, it could get really bad. And so she did the right thing to call the emergency services, and they showed up on Thanksgiving, which we of course invited them to stay, but they wanted to return to their own homes, and I don't really blame them, because when we tried to eat the turkey, it was not very good. It tasted very smoked. So we went about our Thanksgiving with not very good food and a stinky house and a bit of a mess to clean up. But you know what? We tell that story now and it's funny. It wasn't funny at the time, but it's funny now. I will always remember the image of those gentlemen and how kind and gracious they were about it. They weren't angry. Not at all. They simply said, that's what we're here for. Don't worry about it. It's fine. We're glad to be here and glad everything's okay. And I was very thankful for them. How do we be more thankful in the middle of things that just stink? That's a minor incident, and it's even funny. Sometimes things that happen in our lives just aren't funny. But how do we maintain our sense of thankfulness? I think the trick to it probably is remembering that we need to be thankful in order to be happy. That it's important to remember and see the good side of things even when bad things happen. Now that's easy to say sitting here in a car, safe, comfortable. But it's much harder to say in a bed when someone is dying of cancer, or somebody is really, really sick, or you've lost your job, or your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or has left you. It's hard to say that when bad things happen. But you know, I think the key to thankfulness is to just look around and to see all the wondrous things that God has given us and to focus on that. I put things in boxes. Not real boxes, boxes in my mind. Sometimes when something really bad happens, I put it in a box, close the top, and I set it aside and say, I just can't deal with that right now. I'm going to deal with it a little bit later. And I want to focus on something a little bit more positive. That doesn't mean that we ignore those things. It means we come back to them It just means that we try to live in some kind of balance. I guess if we really sit down and examine what's going on in our life, we'll find that God has given us so much to be thankful for. I look at the news and it makes me negative. I look at the state of the world and it makes me negative. But I need to remember that God is sovereign. Nothing happens, nothing, without His say-so and without His okay. And everything's going to be all right. Ultimately, God will take care of it. He's there when we suffer. He's there when we're sick. He's there when we're worried. He experienced the same kind of world that we deal with. He will not forget us. But it's so easy to forget that He will not forget us. And I think we all need to be reminded from time to time. Thank you, Lord, for your blessings on me. Have a great day. Be kind to each other. See you next time.